This is the Mid-Morning Show with Noah Nasiali Kadima.
Welcome back to a Farmer's Mid-Morning Show. This is your host Noah Nasiali Kadima, coming from County 034. And today we want to talk about a few things that have been we have been looking at in the past few months. Last week was a very interesting week for me out there, talking to different farmers, looking at some of the solutions that you can see right in front of me. And today we want you to win with a Farmers. Remember, this is a Farmers where you connect, learn, and grow. And today, some of the things that I want us to discuss is basically, I'll take you through the visits, one of the visits that I did. This was a very interesting farm visit that I did last week. That was on Friday. I'll share that later on during the show. We'll talk about some farm planning activities. What do you do, especially when you want to start some of the activities? More importantly, the 200 seed watermelon challenge that we're doing. We'll be talking to Simon Wagura, who is one of our experts in Africa Farmers Club, as well as somebody who I have worked with for quite some time. Somebody who's really passionate about whatever he does on the farm. Something else that we'll be discussing, something that is a bit heated up. We are heating it up, and we would like you to comment wherever you are, and let us know also where you're watching us from. Something that we are discussing today with one of our guests that will be joining us a bit later is extension services. Who pays for this? We know the challenge that farmers have been facing across the world is lack of credible and reliable information that is unbiased. And because of that, we find that the extension services that are being offered have really gone so low. And the value is what we want to find out today. Who should pay? What should be paid? And who is the regulating authority to know that this exactly is what we should be paying for? So, again, let us know where you're watching us from. Let me know where you're watching us from. Tell us what you did over the weekend. I had a very interesting activities on Friday. On Fridays. On Friday, I visited a very interesting farm, a 3-month-old farm, one that I hope will be sharing some of the pictures and the videos from the visit that I had on Friday. It was a very interesting farm visit, and I'll be asking. I think some of the videos, some of the pictures are being shared, and this farm is in Tigoni. It is actually on Limuru Road. It's in Tigoni, a very interesting place. And soon, probably, I will ask the farmer who's a friend, Charity Kiragu. Congratulations again, Charity, for the excellent work that you're doing, the determination and the activities that you're doing. And we're hoping that one of these days we'll be doing our shows right from that farm. And what really impressed me with the farm is that the activities that are being run are being done so professionally. The farm is exceptionally clean. If you can just stick with some of the photos still, and just describe some of the crops that are there. I'll ask the producer to stick with the photos up there. Let me know if the photos are up, so that we can be able to just describe some of that experience. I'd just like to share with you that experience. The producer, let me know if the photos are up. Yes. So basically, that one of the crops that I saw that is doing fantastic is the capsicum. The capsicum is it's my favorite crop. For all those who know that, it is my favorite, and she's done it so well. And one of the things that I've seen that they're doing it very nicely is they're keeping records of every activity that is on their farm. Each and every activity that is on their farm. Let me tell you something interesting. We've not had many extension officers going to this farm. Why am I calling extension officers? Because there is extension services, and then there's agronomic support. So these are two different people. And we'll be hearing from the expert that will be joining us later on, Michael Ondiala, who is also an expert in agriculture. He's an agronomist, trained agronomist, and more importantly, he's also an agribusiness consultant, and he'll be telling us much more. There are some photos that I've seen there that I'd like us just to stick and remain with those photos there. Those photos gave me some level of hope. I can say that again. They gave me some level of hope that indeed there is something that we can say that we can continue doing, And as we remain and stick with those crops, one of the challenges that Charity's had is water. And one of the things that I saw that when I visited the farm close to 2.5 months ago is that when she was just about to transplant, her pump bailed out on her. The pump just decided not to work. It just broke down. She didn't give up. You can see, as you can see, 3 months later, you can see an amazing crop. And one of the things that I've actually seen, talking to Charity on Friday, was the fact that she has not got the challenge that we always talk about marketing. She has not seen that challenge. And because of this, she has been able to, to do something very interesting. She has been able to get prime market for her produce. Another farm that I visited, I think you can see some of the gooseberries, was one by Frank. Frank is a farmer, again, not far from Tigoni, who is growing gooseberries. And what I liked about it is that it was not just about planting gooseberries. It was more about some research. It is on. They've done quite a heavy investment there, Frank, with the gooseberries. You can see some producer can actually just show us some of the yellow gooseberries. Yes, let's stick with that photo for some time, as I talk about this experience. So the same Friday, I was able to visit this farm, and in an amazing way, it's just I found and I was able to test. You can see those two punnets are two different varieties. You can see one is quite big and the other one's a bit small. But the small ones tend to be a bit sour and the bigger ones do not have an aftertaste. But they're not as sweet as the small ones. You know, these are things that we were eating when we were growing up. If you didn't eat this when you're growing up, pole sana. I know one of our production team might not have seen these berries. But very interestingly, this is varieties from Brazil, varieties from Turkey, and a Kenyan variety. And something that I saw is that there's a lot of dedication in whatever was being done in this particular farm. So that was my weekend. A very interesting weekend. Again, those who are joining us, this is the Farmers Mid-Morning Show. Your host, Noah Nasiali Kadima, out of County 034. And we'll be going in to talk to somebody who has a lot of dedication and putting a lot of effort in making sure that his efforts are being not only rewarded, but also sharing the same efforts and information that he has. He is called Simon Wagura. We'll be getting in touch with him right now. Let's see if we can be able to get Simon. And so that we can be able to share, he can give us some insights into getting to know whether or not he is let me see if we can get to Simon.
Hello, sir.
Simon.
Yes.
Uko salama?
Niko salama. Yes.
Tuambie uko upande gani? Let us know where are you right now?
I'm in Kajiado County.
Yes.
A place called Gatataek. Yeah, at Aina Farms.
Okay. So,
yes.
Simon, something very interesting that I would like us just to talk about briefly is farming from a planning perspective. What do you think farmers go wrong, Simon? Again, as an introduction, Simon is somebody I've worked with for some time. We worked quite some time back, and then we said, no, let's try it once again. And we will be inviting you in the next few days. We'll be inviting you to our farm just to see what we have in store for you. So, Simon.
Yes.
When it comes to farming, what do you think is the challenge that farmers face in terms of planning their activities?
One of the things that farmers fail in is having a good plan about farming. Right from the word go, farming should be a business that if you invest, you should reap from that investment. So farmers fail to plan in terms of the crop they are doing, right from nursery to harvesting, and what returns do they expect from that. And things like to do with market, like seasons. If you don't plan your crop well, you are likely to face a market that will be flooded. Thus, you cannot make good money as maybe you would have thought. Had you planned better, you would have made a some good cash. Another thing
Yes.
is cost of production.
Mm-hmm.
If you've not planned your work well in terms of your farming project well,
Mm-hmm.
you're likely to spend more unnecessarily
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to someone who had planned for the project way in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Cost like pesticides, fungicides.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a plan, you'll know how much fungicide or how much pesticide do you need for a whole season for that crop.
Mm-hmm.
And that can guide you in terms of buying those chemicals from the suppliers.
Okay.
So if you know you need 1 liter, you'll get 1 liter at a discounted price as opposed to getting 100 mils quantities.
All right.
Another thing is issues to do with
Sorry?
water.
Yes.
If you've not planned well
Uh-huh.
and known the water requirement for the crop you're doing,
Yes.
which is very key,
Mm-hmm.
one is likely to face issues with the production and quality.
Mm-hmm. Explain in detail a bit, Simon.
For example,
Yes.
if you are doing cabbage,
Yes.
you require a lot of water during the whole lifetime of the crop until almost to the end.
Yes.
High volumes of water as compared when you're farming things like, let's say, chili.
Yes.
So if you through planning, you'll be able to understand your water supply
Mm-hmm.
or your water reservoir,
Mm-hmm.
what crop can it grow and to up to what stage,
Mm-hmm.
to avoid issues of growing a crop and just towards the end when it's 1 month or 2 months to maturity, you
Yes.
run out of water.
Uh-huh.
Thereby your production is very much affected.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that farmers need to do before they even say that they want to do farming.
Yes.
Where do farmers go wrong?
First is selection of a crop they want to do.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Many a times farmers have this perception like the trending crop.
Okay.
Like you hear tomatoes is currently retailing at 9,000 per crate or 15,000 per crate. So you find farmers, many will go with the wave, like let me do tomatoes currently because it's what is currently paying.
Uh-huh.
But you realize that is just a wave whereby it is selling at that time due to demand and supply dynamics.
Okay.
So that is one area that farmers go wrong. If you want to do a crop with the plan that fine, I'm doing this crop, it will be ready at this time.
Yes.
What is the market? You try and gauge the market dynamics that will be there. Will there be an oversupply?
So let me ask you, Simon. I want to
Yes.
a very honest question. Let me know. Agronomic support. I've not
Yes.
heard you mentioning that.
Yeah.
Do you think agronomic support is important? And if
Yeah,
it is important, who
Yes.
should pay for this?
Yeah. Another area is agronomic support.
Yes. Is it agronomic support or is it extension services? What is the
It's
difference?
both.
Mm-hmm.
There is agronomic support is more detailed as opposed to extension services
Mm-hmm.
from the way it has been practiced.
The what? The what is different? What's the difference? Sorry.
Agronomic support is more detailed
Yes.
and well customized towards meeting a certain need for a farmer,
Uh-huh.
as opposed to extension services. Extension services is broad and tends not to be very specific and tailor-made.
Okay.
So farmers assume that growing crops is it doesn't have technicality, so they believe that.
Uh-huh.
And once they don't consult extensively on the management of pests and diseases, seed
Yes.
selection,
Yes.
you find that they are likely to lose a big percentage of their investment.
Uh-huh.
For example, you need to choose a seed variety that does well in that region that you're planning to farm.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, if you are using rain-fed,
Mm-hmm.
you need to understand how much rain is received in that area
Mm-hmm.
versus what is the demand in terms of water for that crop that you want to farm.
So who offers this, Simon? Is it extension service officers or is it agronomist? And if it's agronomist, who should pay for that? Because extension services, it's a service that should be offered by government or county governments for the sake of, for instance, in Kenya. Who should pay for this agronomic support?
Some time back,
Yes.
when the government used to take agriculture seriously and had invested a lot in agriculture,
Yeah.
there were extensions services offered through the various areas, like in the Ministry of Agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
They used to visit farmers and advise them on the best farm practices.
Okay.
And government used to foot the bills.
Mm-hmm.
So it was offered for free.
Mm-hmm.
But of late,
Mm-hmm. What happened
that
to
has
it?
changed.
What happened?
I think government did put few resources towards the same.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because this is cutting across Africa. It's not just in Kenya. It's across Africa. Where do you think is the disconnect? Because we must be there must be something that went wrong, but we did not understand. Do you think devolving agriculture should have been devolved from the national government?
Yes, devolving is such a good thing.
Okay.
Devolution brings services closer to the person who needs them. That is the citizens.
But do you think having it as a pillar in the manifesto of the president and devolving it, isn't that devolving your manifesto?
Yeah, I think what would have followed is very good policies from the national government in terms of implementation.
Okay.
Following up the funds, following up the plans.
Mm-hmm.
That is what lacked. And again, apportioning good part of the budget towards agriculture.
Okay.
As a pillar.
So do you think that is the beginning of farmers failing?
Yeah.
And
that is one area. You see,
yeah,
paying for agronomic support or services is very expensive, especially to small-scale farmers. That is why they opt to do it the Kienyeji way, which eventually costs them a lot.
Simon, you have extensive knowledge in extension services, and as well as apart from just extension services, managing farms and all that. Do you think a time will come for farmers, smallholder farmers, to be able to cross that bridge and make sure if they're doing tomatoes, because if they're doing tomatoes, they're able to do that? And even before you answer that, how much should an agronomic service cost, or an extension service? How much should a visit cost? I know we've discussed this a while back. How much should it cost?
I would say a visit, I wouldn't be able to come up with a standard fee given the various variations in terms of the size of the project you are going to oversee. Okay. For example, if you are going to oversee a 50-hectare farm, actively involved in farming the 50 acres or hectares, you'll find the charges are likely to be more, because even the services you are offering is a lot.
Assuming it's 1 acre.
If it's 1 acre, I would say charges should range from 3,000 to 5,000.
Okay.
Yeah, 3,000 to 5,000.
Thank you very much, Simon. We'll be getting back to you in the course of the week, and I know for sure there's so much that you're planning. I saw something on some messages yesterday, something that you're planning, and I know that you'll be able to share more about what you're doing and the way forward. Thank you very much, Simon. Have a brilliant day.
Most welcome.
Thank you very much. And those who have been listening, we have been talking to Simon Ogura, who is more of an extension services than an agronomist, and he's mentioned some very important things. What is the difference between extension services and agronomic support? And these are the challenges that you as a farmer, I know, because I have been and I am a farmer, and these are the challenges that we're facing. The challenge of getting accurate, reliable, credible, all those interesting words, but most importantly, unbiased services for information from service providers. And one of the things that we will be discussing after the break, we'll be taking a short break, is what is the difference between extension services and agronomic support? Apart from that, what else can we be able to do and understand that this is what we should be doing actually in terms of helping farmers get accurate information? Something very important that I'll be mentioning later on again, is what is in this pack, what we'll be giving out soon. I have some goodies as usual. Today I have some goodies that I'll be sharing with you. Those who have already received some of these seeds, and we are doing the 200 seed watermelon challenge. So I'll be sharing some of the goodies, courtesy of some of the organizations. That is Vetagro, Vet and Agronomic Limited. We have Africaceous Seeds. We have Syngenta who is coming on board. We have Amiran who is coming on board to be able to give us seeds for you as a farmer, to be able to get to know what can we do, what is the maximum we can get, and in terms of yield from 200 seeds of watermelon. My challenge is 200 seeds, 2 tons of watermelon. Is it possible or not? We'll be taking a short break. This is a Farmer's Mid-Morning Show. Your host, Noah Naseli Kadima. And don't go far. When we come back, we are going to talk to somebody who I have seen also in the industry. He has grown beyond what we thought when we were all starting a while back. I remember I met him, the guest that will be coming in. I met him a while back, and the growth has been steady. I can say very steady. We have very many challenges in this industry, but we'll be coming back shortly. This is a Farmer's Mid-Morning Show. Your host, Noah Naseli Kadima. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Mid-Morning Show with Noah Naseli Kadima.
Cauliflower is a cruciferous vegetable that is naturally high in fiber and B vitamins. Cauliflowers are annual plants that reach about 0.5 meters and bear large rounded leaves. As desired for food, the terminal cluster forms a firm succulent cud or head that is in form of a cluster of flowers. Cauliflowers do well in fertile well-drained soils that are rich in organic matter. Just like other plants, cauliflowers are also affected by different kinds of pests and diseases which can hinder its growth, including unfavorable climate and growing conditions.
The many problems you will see in cauliflowers, and this one is just one of them. You can see how the problem is. It's called riciness. You can see it's living nachana, that is, yeah? Living each other. As you always say. But this one is usually caused by low temperatures. Yes. Low temperatures. Low temperatures during planting leads to this problem. So you have to make sure during planting you have favorable temperatures for your crops. Always talk to your agronomist when you plant, so you can know when to plant what and what works when. Temperature will depend on your area, the area you're in. Because I can't tell you we are in Nyandarua, I want to grow this, and you are in somewhere in in coast, it's too hot. Yes, so that will depend also in your locality. Yes, and also if you are in those climates where it always changes, so you have to know when is the cold season. In cold season you can't do this because of A, B and C, and if it's too hot you can't do A, B and C. So always, that's why I'll just have an agronomist, will guide you through it. Yes, and also do your market research and know what works where before you grow something as a farmer. Don't just do guesswork. There's a lot of pests that attack cauliflower. The most notorious one is aphids. Aphids will suckle your leaves, and one thing you'll know, there's aphids on your leaves. They're always curling. Yes, they will eat, or they will suck the sap out of the leaf. And now when they are too weak, they start curling. They curl inwards. So that's how you'll know you have aphid attack on your farm. Yes. And now what you can do to control aphids on your farm is always keep them in check by spraying. There's always a chemical solution to it. There's a biological, and then there's IPM. Yes. The perfect head, I'll say, it looks like this one. Look at this. It's perfectly round, and it doesn't have any spots on it, and it's intact. That's what makes a perfect head, and is a good size, good market size. Not too small, not too big, not overgrown, just perfect. Yes.
This is the Mid-Morning Show with Noah Nasiali Kadima.
Welcome back to Farmers Mid-Morning Show. This is your host Noah Nasiali Kadima, and as I promised you that we have a guest today. I have known this guest as we were starting. I can say I'll not use the word hustle. It is being used wrongly. Yeah. So I have a guest today. The guest is called Michael. Michael is an agronomist. I'll not mention extension services until we start the discussion, but also extensive, not only agronomic support, but also interactions with different farmers. Because some of the challenges you farmers have said, as we have discussed in the group, I don't know if Mike you've mentioned, but I'll let him introduce himself first. Mike, introduce yourself.
Asante, thanks so much. My name is Michael Ondiala. I wear two hats, and today I'm in the agriculture side. I am an agronomist. Actually, I'm a horticultural consultant. I think it's also good to start from there.
Yes.
I run a company called Agronomy Plus, where we provide on-demand extension service or agronomy service. We provide farm management, consulting, training.
Yes.
And then on the flip side, I am in the events space. I think that's where you like talking a lot about. I am an MC, an accomplished MC. If I am not in your event as an MC, then you don't have an event. You have a meeting.
Yes. Yeah. A meeting without food is
it's just a harambe or something.
Welcome, Mike. Thank you for coming through and just as we discuss these things. This is something that we have actually thought about so much, and I know it's a discussion that many people have had. And I remember when you were starting, I remember those days in Mala, when we were crossing the river. Sometimes there's no water. The challenges at left, right, and center.
Right.
Let me ask you, Mike, what have you seen as the solution to this problem of agronomists? Because I know you've seen quite a number of them.
Correct.
Yes. What is the main challenge that farmers are facing? And yes, let's start there first.
Yeah, so apart from the normal
just move closer to the mic.
All right. So apart from the normal production challenges, that farmers normally experience,
yes,
the normal lack of capital, lack of resources.
Yes.
Of course, information is one of the key areas.
Yes.
And not just information, guidance. So the main challenge that farmers experience is because their source of information may not be as credible. Because right now, with onset of internet, with a gap that the government came up with in terms of extending the extension service as they used to Kitambo, then a lot of people have plugged into that space. Coming up with all forms of solution, some credible, some are not so credible, that eventually now divert the investments that farmers have done to probably a loss or something that is not profitable. So pretty much there's a gap in extension service or agronomy service.
Yes.
And I think after your next question, I'll probably try to define the three different terms.
So let's start there. Now, that's a good thing that you mentioned. What is the difference between extension services, agronomic services, and I don't know which other term now we can put there?
All right, so
an agriculturalist or something like that, because you see we have a lot of things that is going on.
Yeah.
The ratio of farmers to extension officers, according to the United Nations, should be 1 to 400.
Right.
Right now, no, actually 1 to 40.
Yeah.
Now it is 1 to 1,800. Meaning, for an extension officer to visit your farm again, it will take 6 years.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between all these terms?
Yeah, so I'll start with an agriculturalist. Agriculturalist is anyone who has gone to school and understands, or probably has been in the space of agriculture in general.
Okay.
And agriculture covers from growing crops, animals, pasture, agroforestry, and
All
so
those
on and so
things,
forth. So
yes.
everything and crops and plants.
Even gooseberries are here now is part of it.
It has been. It has been. You didn't know. We were buying these things from Nakuma a long time ago. So that is number one. Number two, extension service is a last mile distribution of knowledge or
very
information from government or private sector to the end consumer.
So that is last mile.
Yeah, it's a last mile distribution.
So it's
of information.
Explain what do you mean by last mile?
So last mile means this is information that came from a scientist and has reached the farmer in a way that the farmer understands it.
So it's been broken down.
It's been broken down. It's been translated. The language has been curated for the farmer to understand.
So it's like going to a place of worship
and implement.
Unasomewa one scripture the whole day.
Apana. Place of worship ni unasomewa one scripture. The Bible, I mean, God spoke to the people who wrote the Bible, right?
Yes.
And then the people who wrote the Bible, wachungaji, wakachukua, now they break it down.
But you see, it was translated into very many versions.
It was only translated to make it accessible to every other person to understand. But last mile distribution means it has arrived to the last user of that information. So
this is being offered by who? I remember we had this discussion. Who is responsible for the, let's assume like the transportation of this information?
We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
There's now the agronomy.
Okay. So
the agronomy, now extension service can be anything. It's in health, where we used to have public health officers, home economics and those kind of people. In agri, from on the crop side and on the animal side, it's still under extension service.
Okay.
All right. And then for agronomy, now that is some sort of curated information from an agribusiness perspective, but for farmers who are in agriculture. Crops farming.
Yes.
Not animal farming.
Not animal farming.
Crops farming. That's why it's agronomy.
Okay.
You understand me?
Okay.
So those are the two differences. And then the third one, and actually in Kenya and largely Africa, we look at an agronomist as someone who is an expert in farming. We have agribusiness managers. These are people who will come and tell you from the business angle, market demand, supply, trends, and so on and so forth. Then we have now the agronomists who are specifically on the science, crop pests, crop diseases, soil health, all those things. So soil scientists all the way to...
So now let us now make it simpler, because most people do not understand, and we've actually created a post out there and people are answering totally different things, you know.
Right.
And so my question is, let's start with now extension services.
Yeah.
How much should this cost? And is it a free service? Because I think the farmers understand that extension services is a service that should be offered by government.
Yeah.
Is it something that should be offered by government? Is it something that we pay for? If we to pay for, that is extension services first. I've not even gone into the agronomic. But before you answer that, is an extension officer an agronomist?
Yes, an extension officer can be an agronomist.
But
because an extension officer is the channel through which the information gets to the end user.
Okay.
The last mile I talked about. So an extension officer is actually an agronomist if he's dealing in crops.
Okay.
If he's dealing in animals, he's a vet. If he's dealing in, you get what I mean?
Okay. So you have to be an agronomist first for you to be able to offer extension services.
Correct. You need to be a crops expert for you to be now an agronomist, and then deliver that information out.
And should you be an agronomist for you to offer agribusiness management solutions?
Now, so that is the interesting question. In Africa and in Kenya, an agronomist is that person. You come to my farm, you have all my solutions, including where I will sell my products.
Exactly. Yes.
Which are totally different, JD, if you ask me. But you see, now you have to keep up with the trends. If that's what your client wants, that's what the customer wants, then you position yourself as such. When I was in campus, I did Bachelor of Science in Horticulture, but part of the things that we did, or some of the things that we did, were farm management, we did economics, we did statistics.
Okay.
So we are more well-rounded to also give the same information as an agribusiness manager. So I can be able to do budget for you, But at the same time, I can tell you this is thrips. This is how we sort it out.
So what you're saying, you're confirming or denying that an agribusiness consultant has to be an agronomist?
Yes.
They have to be.
They have to be, especially for the smallholder farmers who are not able to access those two services separately.
So let me ask you, I have seen people who've studied food science,
Yep.
and they're offering agribusiness management.
Yeah.
Is that really fair on the part of farmers?
No, it is not, because when you're a food scientist, you're an expert in value addition. You're literally at the other end of the production, not at the production stage.
Yes.
So your knowledge on food production is very shallow. Your knowledge on post-harvest handling is very deep.
Okay.
Focus there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, there's a question that I want to ask you, which I am not sure whether I should ask, but I will ask.
Go ahead.
Who is the regulating authority of agronomic support?
Right. So
Because we have agronomic, it's called what? Agronomist Association of Kenya,
Yeah.
which has food scientists, it has all those people inside there.
Yeah.
Yes, who is regulating this? And how do we know? Because we have doctors have their own regulating authority, we
Right.
have lawyers, we have architects, we have close to all professions, but in agriculture, bado. What is the challenge?
Yeah, so I think because agriculture has largely been a government kind of initiative and run by government, regulations has not necessarily come out, especially now when the private sector launched into it. So that's why there is no repercussion if an agronomist probably does something. There's no place a farmer can take or can report that.
Okay.
So right now there have been some initiatives. I know there's an organization called SOCA.
SOCA, yes.
So what SOCA I think have been trying to do is to try and bring experts on board and then market that any agronomist from SOCA is an expert, is trained, we verified, we validated their work, probably through experience and so on and so forth.
Okay.
But generally, as is right now, I know there's the Agronomists Association of Kenya. I mean, it's still at nascent stage.
Why? Why is it that way? And yet the issue is because it's a normal discussion to hear when people say, oh, farmers are the ones who are bringing this problem to themselves.
Yeah.
And I know for sure, farmers pay ni wajuaji.
Yeah.
But how come it's not the same like just opening a pharmacy? We hear an agribusiness consultant, amefungua. When you look deeper, it is like someone like Noah, because I can offer that because I have 14 years experience. Now I'm studying, so I'm in that field.
Yeah.
And we've seen so many farmers are failing.
Yeah, so I mean, farmers are failing for so many reasons.
Agronomy
is just one of the reasons.
Let's go with agronomy, because if a building falls, they will never blame the plumber.
Yeah.
They will never blame the electrician.
Yeah.
They will blame the architect, number one, or the contractor.
Agreed. So
yes.
one thing I know is that everyone value what they pay for.
Yes.
I mean, Noah, if you paid me today for this conversation, then you'd expect value from me. If I don't give you value, you'll ask.
Yes.
So that's the first checks and balances that farmer don't want to do. So they want free information. They want free access. They want someone to come to their farm and advise them, but for free. You see, when I advise you for free, I have no guarantee that I can give you that I'll come and do it. That's number one.
Why? Why is it that way? Because, for example, if a doctor treats you, they'll not just treat you, even if they're doing it for free, they'll not just treat you for the sake of treating
you. How many times do doctors do for free?
They don't.
Yeah.
Really?
Correct.
Why?
Because they are charged for it. Because people value what they pay for. People value what they pay for. You see, I've been asking people, and I even told you in one of your posts some time back, we take agriculture as a warrior kind of industry where, let's help our farmers do this. Our farmers cannot afford our farmers.
Yes.
But, let's go back. Look at the resources. If you do a proper, from a business perspective, do a resource analysis. This is someone who has 10 acres of land. If you value that money, if you value that land, what is that? That's one of the capital investments.
Which will be going back to that, because I think one of the things that there's a disconnect is, who do you employ on your farm?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's a different conversation.
Do you think it's a different conversation? Wait, we'll go back to that. Because the thing is about value.
Yeah.
Because you want returns of 1 million shillings.
Yeah. But
you do not want to invest 100,000.
Correct.
So I want us to go back to that discussion later on. But for now, first of all, we just want to acknowledge that there's a lot of confusion in the industry, especially when it comes to offering the information. Because I remember when you started off, Mike, there were quite a number of guys, I'll not mention any, but there was a guy who was selling, I feel pain up to today, because I bought a watermelon guide for 2,500 shillings.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in Embakasi when that guy sent me, told me, now send me the money, I send you the guide. I don't know where he went to. There's a guy called Peter Kagereki, something like that.
Yeah.
There's a guy like that,
Yeah.
So when the guy sent me, I was excited. I knew I'm going to make 400,000 shillings in 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, now, the thing is, this guy did not even have varieties grown in Kenya.
Yeah.
You know, somebody would have blamed me, but I invested 2,500 shillings.
Right.
And you've seen those guys have dropped from 2,000 shillings to 1,000 to now. I think it's like 50 shillings to get 6 guides.
Yeah.
And we don't have a regulatory authority.
Yeah.
There's nobody who I can say that I can verify that, oh yes, if I'm dealing with Mike, do you think that would help farmers to be able to have the confidence in paying this?
Yes, but I mean, also farmers need to understand what they're investing in the first time. Do you need a guide, or you actually need someone who will guide you?
Yes. How do I vet this guy who will guide me? How do I know that, for example, if I go to pharmacists and doctors, whatever authority, I'll check someone's number and say, this guy is credible, let me work with him.
Correct. So we've already established that there's no clear framework, so to speak, or regulatory body.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So right now, it's more of a referral kind of job, because if I did it to Noah, and Noah has gotten good yields, or at least has avoided some pest, diseases, etc., whatever it is, then Noah will refer me to a few other people and say, no, go to Mike. Mike will do ABCD. That's number one. Number two, go to companies.
Okay.
People always go to pay for cheap. And I can tell you, cheap is cheap upfront, but at the back end, it's very expensive.
Okay.
And it's expensive both in time and cash. So go for companies that have some sort of a clear payment structure. I mean, they have, of course, a website, and there's some track record you can see. And then number three, understand what you want, define what you want, and then see whether the value proposition this guy is giving you, I mean, this company is giving you, fits in your vision. Most farmers want to make that million you talked about.
Yes.
But if you go and do a resource analysis at their farms, or you do assessment, what we call farm assessment, you realize there's literally there's no resource to support that.
Okay.
So you cannot transfer the success of your farm to an advisor. At the end of the day, it boils down to execution.
So now that comes to the question, and before we go on, we'll just take a short commercial break and just I want us to come back and talk about what resources in terms of human capacity, in terms of professionalism, should a farmer actually look forward to? Because when you want to construct a house, whether it's a small house or a big house, you have to get bill of quantities. So it means that you have to get somebody who is knowledgeable in that. You have to get an architect.
Correct.
You cannot draw your own house even if you want to.
Correct.
You have the design in your head, but you don't. Probably you only have the finishing.
Yeah.
But even the finishing
is what you saw somewhere else.
Exactly, you know. And I keep on joking with my team, and I tell them I was a farmer.
Yeah.
I was thrown into where I am.
Yeah.
And I had to very quickly learn so many things.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of, I had to learn and unlearn so many things, like managing people, sitting here. I'm used to, with my dust coat out there in the farm, sitting here. I did not know how to design. I knew how studios look like, but I did not know and we've actually analyzed and said, oh, now we want to change all this.
Yeah.
Who are these people? And I want us to come back after the break and just talk about who are these people, who are these key resources in terms of people should farmers have, either full-time employed or consulting, and how do we get this? Yes, we'll be getting a short break. This is a Farmers Mid-Morning Show. Your host, Noah Nasiali Kadima, and I am joined by Michael Ondiala. Michael Ondiala is an agronomist, agribusiness consultant, and also he wears another hat. Mike the MC says if your event does not have him as a MC,
having a harambe.
So we'll be talking about that in a few minutes. When you come back, we're going for a short break.
All right.
A nursery bed is a small area of a yard or garden that's used for growing certain selected plants. The goal of a nursery bed is to grow young plants to a certain size at which they can be easily transplanted. A nursery bed can also be used to evaluate plants to see if they are worthy of planting in the larger garden, to observe their growth, habit and color, or watch them for pests and diseases. A nursery bed is especially helpful for vegetable gardeners practicing succession in planting, in which a steady supply of fresh produce is maintained.
Beetroot is a highly nutritious root vegetable. The beetroot is the taproot portion of a beet plant. It is one of the many varieties of the genus Beta vulgaris, all of which are mostly grown for their edible taproots and leaves. Beetroot is a root crop that takes approximately 3 to 4 months to mature. Beetroot is a fairly easy crop to grow as long as the soil is well cultivated prior to planting. Beetroots do not enjoy wet, boggy or shady soils. Beetroot can be sown in trays and transplanted when the seedlings have 2 true leaves. Plant in full sun, space seedlings 10 to 15 centimeters apart, and rows 20 centimeters to 30 centimeters apart so they have room to grow. Beetroots are also ideal for containers or raised beds. Beetroots will happily thrive in small areas as long as there is at least 20 centimeters depth of soil. Beetroot has been used not only for food but also for treatment for numerous conditions.
This is the Mid-Morning Show with Noah Nasiali Kadima. This is the Mid-Morning Show with Noah Nasiali Kadima. This is the Mid-Morning Show with Noah Nasiali Kadima.
Welcome back to a Farmers Mid-Morning Show. We are talking about agronomic support. We are talking about extension services. We are talking about so many things. We are talking about what does it mean to be able to understand for sure what farmers require. Do they require extension services? Do they require agronomic support? Who is supposed to offer this? Who is the regulating authority? But most importantly, how much should farmers pay for this? But now, and again, this is a Farmers Mid-Morning Show, joined by Michael Ondiala. Michael Ondiala is also an MC. He'll tell us more about this and services. And I think where we reached the discussion is that I asked you, you're also an MC.
Yeah.
Why would someone go for another MC and not you? And and why you and not another one? And all that. And I think to some extent, Mike,
Yeah.
the challenge that we have and we are facing right now in the country is the fact that farmers do not understand that they are expecting to get good returns, but they don't know whether either. So the two things that we can ask ourselves is, do farmers know what is expected of them from requiring labor force or not? What do you think? Do farmers know what is required?
So I'll answer that question from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Farmers are folks who are used to doing the same thing the same way every time, expecting different results.
Mm-hmm.
And then buzzwords come in. So
Mm-hmm.
buzzwords like, let's do it like agribusiness.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden that's the buzzword in the field, that's the buzzword in TV. And then every farmer will say, I'm doing my farm as an agribusiness.
Yes.
But they haven't changed the process. All right.
Which process is this?
They haven't changed the process. They have not changed their hiring process. They don't have a planning model. They don't have a budgeting model. They don't have a clear day-to-day kind of work, KPIs, deliverables for their staff, if they have staff, risk assessments that they need to be doing every now and then, market assessment, planning for the market as well, and probably locking it down if possible. So most record keeping. So most farmers, what they do is they say yangu nafanya kilimo biashara, but it's still the same thing, just rebranded, right? So I want us to look at it now from a HR perspective, because I think that's where the question was headed. If you have a farm, I mean, look at it as a business, right? So in your business, when you're hiring, what do? You define the JD. So when you define the JD, you also define the roles. First of all, you have what we'd call the organic structure, organizational structure. So, I mean, we have the director here. So is it actually director or farm owner? And is the farm owner the CEO, or the farm owner is just the investor? Then when you come down to the day-to-day manager, do you have a manager, or is it a coordinator, or you just have several other people,
or a supervisor, or you have a watchman and then jirani, manager wa jirani anakumanajia shamba. Which we've seen that in many
yes. And then so breaking that down helps you understand what are the human resource capital that you need for you to be able to plug into those places, but you need to break down the JD.
So let me ask you, before we break down the JD, because now we need to understand, me as Noah, as either a farmer or the investor, what is my role? So that I don't come with seeds and tell the farm supervisor, panda is what is the role of, who am I talking to? Because I know something else that I know, you being in consultancy as well, and you've seen. Even when you're in Malawi, one of the farmers was getting too many consultants. What I want to find out is that you have 3 acres and below. So 3 acres to, let's say very seriously, 1 acre. You know, if we do that, who are these people that this farmer needs?
So first of all, you will get to talk to a consultant. And I can tell you, before you put seeds to the ground, you need to talk to someone who's been in the space. He understands the whole 360.
I'm being told to tell you to just move closer to the mic.
To the mic?
Yes.
Sorry, so the mic should move closer to
yes.
So someone who understands the whole 360. So he understands the market, he understands the production, the post-harvest handling, the logistics, to give you a picture of the trends and all that. This is not free.
Before doing the cost,
I know.
Yes. So what I wanted to find out. So this person,
right?
How does a farmer identify this person?
So there are so many ways. One, of course, you ask in various forums where farmers congregate and converse, like at the farmers page, Facebook page. I mean the digital farmers
DFK,
page. Yes, and the rest. Of course, here is where you will get a lot of suggestions. And there are a lot of suggestions. It's up to you now to start verifying. Call and ask for either referral, ask for work previously done, go look at their website. It's just basic due diligence that you can do. Go look at their websites. I mean, do they have any reasonable website? Do they have an office? Do they have a bigger staff?
Because this is serious business. You're investing money.
And how many years they have been in the practice, because I think that's one of the things. We have a lot of people who just concluded school who've come in as consultants, and I can tell you those are 2 different things.
Erastus Mongare, I'm not talking about you.
Those are 2 different things. Someone who's been in the space understands how the market thinks. All right? How the market works. They know the trends. They probably have data. And we are going into the big data space. They have data to tell them that probably between February and May, tomatoes are going to compete with apples in pricing, for example. So you need to plan backwards. And those kind of things. After that, then you have the same consultant prepare for you a business plan or a business model. And then also start now putting in the budget for you. And then after that, probably when you have done that, by this time the consultant should have gone to the field and probably done a resource analysis. So they'll look at the farm, look at the fence, source of water, security, basic risk assessment. So by the time they're giving you a blueprint, whether it's 1 acre or it's 100 acres, that blueprint is the one that will be implemented.
So let me ask you, Mike, does that mean that as a farmer, you don't just start and say, nimepima mchanga, nimenunua mbegu, nimepanda, I have started farming, I am in agribusiness?
No, you're just practicing agriculture.
So it's basically doing the same thing, expecting different results.
Correct.
So the same way somebody goes and builds a house or starts at any other business, you go get a loan, the bankers for business plan and all that. So now, does that mean that because, farmers are failing because of not doing that, or nobody's there to tell them what to do?
No, when they're told, they don't want to pay. We tell them that. You see, probably if you approached me and told me, Michael, I have a farm, I want to start farming.
Yes.
I'll tell you, that's great. So, what is your big vision? You'll tell me, I want in the next 5 years to be producing tomatoes, say 20 tons per week.
Yes.
Or 20 tons per month.
Yeah.
That's good. So, how much resources are we looking at?
Yeah.
You'll tell me I have a capital of 1 million.
Yeah.
So it's up to me now to start looking at how to convert that 1 million into capital that can build towards getting into the 20 million or 100 million capital that you want to have by the time you're doing your 10 years.
Yes.
I'm not going to do that service for free because I'm going to involve a numbers guy. That's someone who does accounting. I'm going to involve, of course, I am an agronomist, so I'll come up with the crops and so on and so forth. But I'm going to involve market intelligence folks. These are people who've been collecting market data every day, so they know the trends, they know the triggers for pricing going up or pricing go down. They understand all these things from data perspective. Sometimes it's going to cost because we pay for some of this information.
Okay.
And then I'm going to involve a lot of people, engineers, to just tell us that this water is enough before we even take the soil to the lab.
So what you're saying basically is that we have quacks out here who are telling farmers, for you to grow watermelon, you need X amount of money. Let's say it as it is.
Yes, but you see, there are too many things. There are too many reasons why I should tell you to grow watermelon. It should not just be you have 400,000 grow watermelon.
What about if farmers want to grow capsicum?
You ask them where.
They just want to grow capsicum. I've been told, and I just like it.
Yeah, utapeleka wapi?
Hauna soko?
Yeah, mimi sina soko.
That's
kazi yangu si soko kwako. Kazi yangu ni you want to grow capsicum, you want my extension service or agronomy information advisory. Very
interesting. You who's watching us, let us know what you're thinking about. As much as we are talking about agronomic support, agronomic services, let us know, what do you think? What are the challenges, as Mike is talking about some of these challenges, especially you as a farmer, that what is the value how do you value agronomic support that you are getting? How do you approach? Let us know, share some of your experiences. I will be sharing my experience on how I got into farming.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting and nasty. But thanks because of that. I have landed where I am today. And
so there was a question we left hanging.
Yes.
And I was hoping you'd get back to it. There was a question on the HR.
Yes, actually, that's what I was going to next.
You're going back to?
Yes, I was going back to that because I was actually basically going to say that through the experience that I had, I employed and sacked so many people, so many farm workers, farm managers, and all that, because I would ask somebody, unajua kazi ya shamba ndio. I remember my first guy was called Mutisia.
Yeah.
Mutisia was my first guy who walked with me in this journey, and told me that tunaweza kupanda pilipili hoho. I rushed all the way to Amiran and got my first seed. I still remember it was 960 shillings. It was, what is this? California Wonder.
Yeah.
I bought that plus, what is it called? Some Dania, coriander, and the rest.
Right.
And we put up a nursery. This guy did not tell me this capsicum takes 6 weeks in the nursery. So... Okay?
Yeah.
But you see, I had been referred by someone else like, huyu anajua, in fact, unale shamba ndogonga na huyu ana manage your shamba.
Yeah.
So for me, I assumed, since this is the guy, let me work with him.
Yeah.
I worked with him. He was a brilliant guy, quite hardworking, knew, because the most important thing that we normally ask is, unajua kutumia machine, can you connect the water from the river to the farm?
Yeah.
And he said, yes, unajua kupiga dawa ndio. Until when I had to learn which chemical, which pesticide, fertilizer to use, because this guy who I was told knows has no idea.
Yeah.
So that brings us, it prepares us to this question. What is the human resources required for a farmer who was, let's work with 3 acres and below.
Right.
How many people, first of all, should he have over and above the consultant? Let's start with the consultant. What should this consultant offer? And then later on after that, we can be able to now start and break down in terms of what is the value, in terms of how much do we charge? Should farmers expect to be charged? And then you can also talk about what services you offer as well.
Yeah. So when you're setting up a farm, is the same way as setting up any other company. So as you break down the organic structure of the company, you still break it down. So first of all, register your farm as a business. That starts changing the mindset, right? Then number 2, after that, now talk to a consultant.
We'll go back to that.
Yeah. Then number 2, talk to a consultant.
Yeah.
Because when you talk to a consultant and you've explained to them, you've told them I have 10 acres or I have 5 acres. The 5 acres is in Kajiado. This is what I'm thinking of growing. Then you will start having probing questions. Then you will go and do a resource analysis. I don't know whether they do. I do. Or rather, in our company we do. So we do a resource analysis from which now we know this is the scope of crops you can grow.
That is by visiting the site.
Yeah, we visit the site.
And this resource analysis, does it include soil testing or is that before that?
Yes, it covers agronomy, it covers human resource risks, source of water, security, accessibility, agronomy, now the soil, and agronomy, whether there are other crops ongoing, and then also the neighbors, I mean the neighboring farms.
All right.
So once you've done that, and accessibility now to government resources like CARI, or CALRO rather, and a few other institutions.
Okay.
So once we've done that, we come up now with what we call a solution design. Solution design as a business model, and then under it we have a clear organic structure or organization structure that defines now who the HR, etc. are, and then after that, and the JDs, and then after that we do a financial plan, a budget, a work plan, and if you're ready, let's start the implementation plan. So that is the first bit.
Yes.
So on the HR, once you're done with the consultant, he's still going to be the guide. Just the same way you have an architect, he's still going to be the guide, either on a monthly basis, via meetings or via visit to the farm, whichever. And then after that, now you start hiring. You have the clear JDs.
Okay.
Call out for applications. Let guys apply.
Okay.
The most important thing you need to do is look at character,
attitude, man,
teachability,
yes,
and knowledge.
So these are what is the caliber of this person? Who is this person? How does that person look like? I mean, if you look at it like, is it a farm worker, a farm supervisor, a farm manager, an entry-level agronomist? Who is this person?
Depending on your size. If it's a 3-acre farm, then you need someone with a bit more of experience. I would go for someone with about 3 years of experience, but with a diploma in terms of knowledge.
So this is somebody who is being employed full-time on the farm?
Correct.
All right.
That has to be a full-time.
Okay.
And then this person is going to be like the team leader. Is going to every day chart the way forward for the day. Remember, the consultant broke down per month, even per week.
Yes.
The person implementing this, the person implementing this is now this fellow. So this fellow has to understand it and translate it now for the rest of the workers. All right.
Okay. So this is somebody who is knowledgeable, and character. We'll come back to character. Character is a totally different thing.
I know. I understand. I have gone through it enough times. Yeah. So someone with knowledgeable, at least, so you filter a lot of quacks. Then number 2, you bring in a bit more of course, character. The drive. Now you understand the motivations of this fellow. I mean, what are his visions? Because once you understand some of these things, they shape. I mean, they give you more information about the kind of person this person is. So
this person, let me just take us back.
Yeah.
This person is a farm supervisor.
Yes.
Not a farm manager.
Or a farm lead. We in our company call them farm staff. Yeah.
What do you mean by farm staff? I mean,
he's not a farmhand, but he's doing roles of both a farmhand plus.
So he's also part and parcel of the work going on.
That has to happen. I don't want someone to walk mkono nyuma.
Taking photos and going around.
Photos I will come and take myself.
On WhatsApp, doing things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you can do that. We can have an hour of that. Call it a social hour in our space.
Yes.
So a social hour means midday, probably send me what's going on at the farm. Either photo or we do a WhatsApp call. You can always tell. And then in the evening, now you share some basic report on our platform. But in a nutshell, you need someone who also works.
Who is also part and parcel of the activities every day. Kama ni saa kupiga dawa, he's also part of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So he either yeye ndiye anakuja anapima, yeye anafanya nini, ana follow up to make sure that people are spraying correctly, targeting the crop, the right timing, calibration of the sprayers, all those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So stock taking and things like that.
That's the person. He makes sure all the records are up to date as per that day.
Okay.
Probably as per that hour. And then after that, now you hire what you'd call now the assistants to the person. These can be watu wa mkono. So this can be apprentices, people who just learned through experience. But again, you look at character and teachability and responsibility.
Okay.
Because at the farms where we manage, the responsibility is up to the person, not up to the manager.
Okay.
Yes, it's up to the person. So if it's Noah is the farm worker that we hired as a farmhand to work on this particular block, then when we start questioning, I won't ask the farm manager, I'll come and ask Noah.
Okay.
And then Noah will explain.
Okay.
Then it will explain upwards.
So how many people should be able, we talked about the farm lead or farm, whatever he is, farm, and then the assistant. How many, what is the maximum number of, minimum number of people
3
this farmer should have?
3. The team lead and the other 2 leads, the other 2 staff.
Okay.
Everyone else is on demand.
So does that increase with the acreage someone has, or how do you do that?
Yes,
because that is the
it
challenge.
increases with the acreage.
So if somebody has 10 acres, they should be having like 9 people?
No. There's a way you calibrate economics of scale and all that. There's a way you calibrate, change even the remuneration model to accommodate less people. There's a farm we are consulting, rather we are sort of managing.
Yes.
In Sagana, it's 30 acres of onions. It used to be, I think, 9 acres, and it had almost 18 people. 4 of them were security, so still had 14 people.
Yes.
We scaled the farm to 18 acres with 6 people. Now with 3 security.
Okay.
Now we've scaled to 30 with 11 people.
Yeah. So it's basically, it's something that the person who is consulting for you has to give you not only returns on investment, but also like a wise decision of like, okay,
cost
here
management.
We are reducing this cost, we are increasing this cost because and justifying.
Yes, because it's a business.
And so when it comes to that, because some of the questions that, and we'll be going through that for those who are watching us. Sorry, I even mentioned for those who are watching us. This is a Farmers Mid-Morning Show, and we'd like you to just continue giving us some feedback on how all this is going on. What do you think about agronomic support? We have some very sharp comments coming up, Mike, which will be sharing some of the information. Let us know where you're watching us from. Let us know your experience with agronomists and extension officers. What is your goal? I can see quite a number of people who are commenting here. Very interesting discussion here going on the social media. Continue follow us on all our social media channels. YouTube, we are on YouTube Live today. We are also on Facebook as where we are always, on Twitter as well. Follow the discussion. We are talking about agronomic support. Who pays for this agronomic support? But before paying, what is this? How does it look like? Who should you be able to consult? And how does that consultation look like? You know? And Mike, there's something that you've mentioned that, we'll take some questions in a few minutes. You have done this over a period.
Yeah.
You've seen farmers who have failed.
Yes. And we've been part of that as well.
Yes. And a very interesting thing is that, and I'll just mention this because I know it's a discussion that we've had. There's a farmer who was contracted to plant malenge.
Pumpkin. Right.
On 6 acres.
Right.
And he grew, and everything worked out very well. And he had quite a good deal, because I remember he was doing like, I think 8 to 12 tons per acre. But this was pumpkin.
Yeah.
I was trying not to laugh. This was not watermelon. This was pumpkin.
Yeah.
That is one. There's another one, without mentioning names. There's a group of agronomists, I think that era of like around 6 years ago. And they were saying that they're contracting you to plant chilies.
Yes, I've heard of that as well.
And the guy, was contracting. So what he was doing is very, very interesting, contracting some people to do seedlings, and then selling the seedlings to other people.
Ah, good. Yeah.
Very interesting.
That's a business model.
Yes. Apart from that, there was another craze that was there of planting kiwi. I remember. I'm still waiting to see kiwi grown in Kenya. Almost 10 years later.
Right.
And there's another one. There's another very interesting one that farmers were being told. I was part of that, and I was told to grow aloe vera. And I was told I can make 2.5 million shillings from aloe vera.
Yeah.
And this was a consultant, serious consultant, by the way. he has up to now he has a very good website. He is very good on social media, but his activities are a bit grown. I think he got too many millions and forgot about it. The question that I'm asking, and one of the things that I will want you to tell us is that, do you have a pool of farm workers that if in case a farmer would require, you'd be able to propose? How do you vet these people? And what do you think, whose responsibility is it to make sure that these people are vetted, these agribusiness consultants? Because one of the things that is happening, Mike, and with all due respect to agriculture companies, input suppliers, is that when somebody is let go, somebody loses his job, he automatically becomes an agronomist consultant. Automatically, this guy does not even know how to talk to farmers.
That's how the progression is.
Yes, and when you talk to these people, they have a lot of knowledge. For sure, they have a lot of knowledge, and me and you know quite a number. They have a lot of knowledge, but they do not have successful stories. Even if not successful, because not everything is successful, they don't have a story. Somebody will not tell you, I was working with this farmer and this is where we failed. Mostly like, we worked with this farmer, alinunua lorry.
A lot of lorries.
Yes, and I don't see those lorries. Me, I've never bought a lorry, I don't know why. So one of the things that I'm asking is that, whose responsibility is it to make sure that this industry is regulated in terms of, we have agronomists, then we have agronomic agribusiness consultants. I even see here some are in the banks, but I think they are only interested in selling the agribusiness loans. Whose responsibility is this? Is it the county government or is it the national government? And was it a mistake? So let's tackle this, a few questions. Whose responsibility is it to regulate the industry? I think considering agriculture is the main source of income.
I think regulation will come from us, the practitioners. Because at some point when farmers stop requesting for our services because of previous bad experiences, then we lose the business. So regulation will still have to come from us. We will need to sit down, bring ourselves together, form an association that is really strong, come up with protocols and measures and regulations that are going to self-regulate.
Why is it taking too long?
Because of various interests.
Why?
It's a vast space. It's a vast industry. It's at 26% of this country's GDP, and people are gaining from their various spaces. So until that need comes, it's still a very vast space. So what some of us are doing, and like what SOCA did, SOCA is just trying to bring quality experts under an umbrella, and then sell that as a value add, so that when someone hires from SOCA, they know they are hiring from a quality pool. So we are doing the same at Agronomy Plus. So what we are doing is we are onboarding guys from certificate level all the way to degree, even master's level if you want to. And then we have a period where we are working with you, 6 months, 12 months. And then if any company wants to come and hire agronomists and they request from us, we just become now the HR service in this country and charge you the way any HR would charge you if they sourced a worker for you as a company. So we just say, we've worked with this person, we know them, we have built their capacity, we have given them their first 6 months, 12 months, 18 months of internship. They're good quality. So if you're going to hire them at say 50, 60, 80, 100,000 shillings, then we will charge you
a certain percentage.
So because if we charge you just the same way HR companies do, then we are going to be responsible for him at least for the first 3 months. So he will deliver what we promise. So now that comes to the next question before we jump into some of the questions that are being posted out there. Is that when you're engaging with a consultant, is it what are the terms? Because is it only for you as a farmer to deliver everything, or what is that? Because in a management term, whatever you cannot measure, you cannot manage. So what will be the end result if I engage with somebody? For example, Agronomy Plus. If I engage with Agronomy Plus and say I have 2 acres, my interest is doing onions, I've done my soil testing, or I've done it before, I managed to get 10 tons, I would like to engage with you. What are these things that I can do to get more? And is it a guarantee? Are we signing based on that? Am I paying according to what you are doing, or are we agreeing that I'll pay whatever amount is there, we'll pay in bits, and then the last bit of it is when we are harvesting and confirming that we have this? Do we work with targets? How does that look like? If you work with targets, means you've employed me. So you pay me per month.
But is it a guarantee that if I work with you, I'll increase my yield with looking at all the advice you give me?
Yes, you see now, extension service and agronomy is a knowledge-based economy.
Okay.
We're not implementing.
Okay.
So you can have the best guide. I actually have a feeling the guide you got was very good guide. The one for watermelon.
No, it was not. I even created my own better.
It is how you implemented it. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, ideally, even a doctor, they will come and pima you and tell you have malaria and any hear those bad handwritings. But if you don't take it to a chemist and buy the dawas, then you'll not get well. You'll not say the doctor is a quack.
No, what I'm saying is this.
No, I'm just getting to where you're getting.
All right.
You'll not say the doctor is a quack, but you'll have paid the doctor. The doctor has already played his role.
Yes.
All right?
In prescribing.
In identifying and prescribing.
But that is a normal hospital doctor, not a personal doctor.
No. Even your personal doctor, what do they do first? They first of all diagnose and tell you that you have symptoms of malaria. So this is the dawa you're going to buy.
Okay.
So if you don't go and buy the dawa, which is now the execution part, and measure the dawa, actually even if you bought the dawa
and you don't measure
the dawa, you're still going to be sick.
And if you're taking antibiotics and you still take a whiskey, bado kuna shida
because alikuwa against.
Yes.
So knowledge economy is normally up to that point.
Right.
Did I give you the right information? Was it accurate? Was it informed by data, etc, or diagnosis, whatever it is?
Okay.
Yes, it was. Now, on the flip side, did you implement it? If I'm participating in implementation, then you've hired me as a farm manager or a farm worker, so I'm implementing it. So execution is my role. So me as a consultant,
yes,
you pay me for that hour.
For consultancy.
Yes.
So basically, what you're saying is because I would like us
it's after a knowledge economy.
We start changing the perception, the mentality of farmers, because you see most of the time that the farmers most of us as farmers are interested in whatever is going to come out of this. We do not know how we play to that getting to there.
Yes.
For example, a simple thing like land selection.
Yeah.
You know, we just spoke to, I don't know if you watched the show as we started, we just spoke to somebody called Simon Wagura, and he was mentioning that sometimes farmers don't even know the amount of water they will require.
Yeah.
You know, we went to visit another farmer that we supported in installing some drip irrigation system.
Right.
And the farmer called us after 2 months, no, actually 1 month, and told us the way she has been told, the irrigation system cannot work.
Yeah.
The way we've installed, it should be shorter and all that.
Yeah.
And I took a 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
And that time fuel had not reduced.
Yeah.
So we went all the way. We reached there. I had asked her actually, do you have enough water? She's like, yeah, there's a lot of water. I was like, how much? Like 6,000 liters daily on 2 acres. And so I reached there. When we reached there, the tank did not even have water.
Yeah.
She's pumping from a well to the tank.
Yeah.
And it took 20 minutes pumping, but I think it was 20 or 30 liters that entered the tank. We went around, looked at all the drips and all that. When you opened, at the drip valve, when you open, that water could not even go 5 centimeters. Zero pressure.
Yeah.
Not even zero pressure.
There's no water.
Because see, when the water is there, it's 6,000 liters. It has to replenish at a very fast rate so that it maintains. Because the moment you open, umefungua drip, margin at reduce. So that is why I said let's have this discussion, because farmers should know that they require to cough something. Just the way they're investing something, lazima watalipa, what are these called, license here, city council. They'll pay for all these government licenses before they start the business.
Yeah.
They will be required to get with a qualified consultant.
Yeah.
What do these costs look like, Mike? Because we don't want also to scare farmers.
Yeah.
What do these costs look like? Because both you as a consultant and the farmer are in business.
Yeah.
And when you talk about consultancy, is it just?
Yeah. So that's a good question. So our model actually is more of subscription. For 6 months. So a farmer subscribes for a season 6 months, but every month they pay X amount of money.
Okay.
So the money they give is for several farm visits.
Okay.
It can be 2, can be 4, can be 10.
Per month or the whole 6 months?
Per month.
Okay.
So there's consistent follow-up that happens. But now in a scenario like you've given, that's a scenario where resource analysis was not done, because someone would have identified this water is not sustainable before even the other investments came in.
That's what I'm mentioning, because what happened is that once it was done, it was assured that we are going to get more water, we're going to go deeper. And then all of a sudden, the farmer put in chicken, then put in 5 dairy cows. After.
So you see, they didn't have a clear vision.
So who's mistake? Because one of the things
that's the farmer's mistake. Because in my opinion, the farmer needs to be clear on what they want, and how they want, and what they want to get. I want to set up a dairy farm. I want to set, so that when you're giving me that brief, in my resource analysis and subsequent calculations of water requirements, etc., it is with this in mind. If you don't give me this, then there's no way I can come up with an abstract figure.
Information, exactly,
So that is one of the reasons. So that's number one. Number two, most agronomists, and I hope I will sit at watu, but normally most agronomists charge 2,500 per farm visit. How they deliver that information is normally, I think, where we have a gap. Because you see, I will come with all my science. I know that this is thrips. But until I tell you where thrips come from, how they are there, and how you can avoid future. Mimi nikikuja nikwambie piga dawa XYZ, then what I have done is nimechapa tu na rungu hapa. Sijaangalia where the source of mosquitoes. I've just slapped the one that is on your wrist. But the source of mosquito is probably just out there. There's a puddle out there.
So let me ask you, because I want us to revolve around something. Weird, because some of the questions, and I think it would be good for those who are watching us. Thank you for the feedback, and Mike, probably I can just ask, because some of the questions are related to what we're discussing. Esther Sunday Mutinda, an ardent follower and a viewer of our shows, is asking: there are genuine smallholder farmers who cannot afford expensive extension officers. Where can they get affordable, credible information?
So there are various channels that gives information. I mean, extension cannot just be in person. We have online platforms that send this information to farmers.
As you continue there, and I will tend to disagree, and we will disagree to agree. I think extension services has to be in person.
No, I agree with you. But you see, sometimes the cost part, because even for us, it's literally in person. We have an army, so it's but you see now, for cost aspect, it becomes a little expensive to be sending people to the farm, because just the transport alone to the farm and back is going to cost something to the agronomist. So what we do is there are a number of channels, like in Ghana they have a voice call. I think it's a voice call where if you call a certain number, toll-free number, then you have feedback in your local language. There are channels like WhatsApp and Facebook. Your YouTube channel is giving out information. That is still part of extension service. Generally, we have a model that we call it a shared resource. So where one agronomist is able to handle several farms, but the farmers still have to pay a certain amount of money. But that is a business model that is ours. If those farmers want something like that, then we aggregate them. Then we aggregate everything. We aggregate both produce and the knowledge. So we literally manage their farms without necessarily being at the farm every day, and then be able to help them with the market, and then get our money from there.
How what assurance do you give these farmers? Because one of the things that we are seeing as a challenge is that farming is it's a very interesting industry. Every part of it is moving. Every part of farming is moving. There is pest management. You wake up today and tomatoes has been hit by blight. And automatically someone says this agronomist is not working. I've had incidences where farmers harvested quite like 14 tons of onions, which is really good. Which is really good.
Fantastic.
But the next crop is watermelon and it's drying up. You know, and only to realize that this farmer did not test the soil. And was working with an agronomist who did not ask for that soil test, or said, if you don't have a soil test, we cannot engage. Is there ethics that we are also avoiding in the industry because of quick cash?
But you see, when there's regulation, that can happen. They will ask for the soil tests and so on and so forth. as part of the protocol. So it actually depends on the ethics of the person, of the agronomist, or the company. Like in our place, I mean, whether you did soil test last week or you did this week, we might actually do it as part of our own protocol. We probably your sampling was wrong. Probably there are things you didn't look when you're doing your sampling. You just did the normal, probably zigzag, but you didn't look at the soil type. I mean, with the slope and all those kind of things. So we'll still do it ourselves. But the most important bit is that when you're engaging, try and engage on a long term. There are normally no guarantees if I'm just giving you information and I'm not implementing. Yeah, it's just a class.
What is the difference?
If I came and taught you and you didn't go and revise to be ready for the exam,
yes,
I am not responsible for your failure. I gave you the information. You didn't act on it.
So what is what should farmers expect? Because see, now that becomes very confusing. I have a consultant who comes to the farm. And he tells me, spray this, use this, it needs weeded and all that. What should I expect from somebody who comes once a week and I pay 3,000 shillings per visit?
Someone who comes once a week should be able to identify the problem, the root cause of the problem, and prepare a protocol for you to follow to managing both the current problem and future problems emanating from the same.
So you're saying the
follow-up only becomes one.
So you're saying the best thing is for farmers to engage with these people long term?
Correct.
Is it affordable?
Because there's consistency. Affordability is relative.
Is it affordable?
Affordability is relative. There's some people we are charging 20,000 a month. There are some people we are charging 2,500 a month.
Is it because of the size of farm, or is it because of what exactly? What is the main thing?
Level of engagement and size of farm.
Level of engagement and size of farm.
Yes.
Interesting, very interesting question. So you're saying that there are options that you have for people who do not have a lot of money.
Yes.
And that means an eighth of an acre to 1 acre, somebody who still wants to do it and do it well, you can be able to offer some of those services.
Correct, but we start from at least 1 acre. Unless in the eighth of an acre you have a greenhouse or 2 greenhouses, those kind of facilities. Okay, I think you'll give us some of the, your contact will be sharing after this. Yeah. There's a guy called Ishadunga. Ishadunga says that we need a regulatory framework to guide the service providers. Brilliant, as we've mentioned. The other one is Collins Ngetich. I think you know Collins Ngetich, the guy who's doing avocados. Yeah. And we'll get into. There's a question I want to ask you about avocados. Is it a craze? Will it end like watermelon nowadays? Yeah. So you say that you have a pool of young guys who, if a farmer would require the services, you'd be able to provide at a fee. Yep. Is it a monthly fee or is this the first month? No, just the same way HR companies charge. If you want to work in that farm, and we have guys for that place, then we will just charge you probably either the first salary or just a certain fee. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. We have quite a number of comments coming through, and what was the question by Collins? I think you mentioned. No, Collins was just mentioning. He's saying great show. He'd like to learn more where to get, especially for avocado farming. Which now I said I'll compile that and ask you. Yeah. So something very interesting that there's a guy called Hussein Adam says, I have complained about Ministry of Agriculture not providing extension services as it used to be in the past. No veterinary services for livestock farmers, etc. So how do we expect the planting for job and food to be successful, or is it's just a political rhetorics? And we have quite a number of feedback. I would give something on that. The work of government, as is right now, the world has changed. Yeah. The work of government is to create the infrastructure and policy and necessary environment. The rest has been left mostly to the private sector to spur up. So if you're going to look at agribusiness, then you're going to look at extension service as a cost that you put in your budget with the expectation that by the time you sell, you actually gain from it. But what is the role then of county governments? Create the enabling environment. What do you mean by creating enabling environment? The right policies, frameworks, like the regulations you're talking about. Be a go-to agriculture information center, but you go there. They can't come to your place, because right now it's very expensive for the government to have that kind of team moving around to farms. Why is it expensive, and yet it is the industry that is the main source of both foreign exchange as well as just revenue for the country? If you looked at the foreign exchange you're talking about, If we break that figure down,
Yes.
actually the main companies that are exporting the tea, the coffee,
Yes.
those are the only people who actually contribute that GDP you're talking
Fantastic. So is it a lie that we say that agriculture is the
about.
highest?
No, it's not a lie, because coffee and coffee and flowers, etc., are actually agricultural.
But what is the difference between that is the challenge that we are facing?
Yeah.
And if agriculture is the main source of revenue,
Yeah.
what other should the policies be changed to? I mean, for example, you find that a fertilizer company is donating fertilizer worth 30 million shillings during COVID, but there's nothing about soil testing there.
So
where is the disconnect?
So the disconnect is okay. When they were giving that fertilizer, that was not donating. That was a marketing platform, because they really gained from that. I know the company you're talking about.
And they donated to government.
Yeah, they donated to government and even to individual farmers. I
Yes.
know of a farmer who got, I think, 5 bags.
I didn't get.
Sorry. You should know people. But I know of a company, a farmer who got 5 bags
Yes.
from the same.
Yeah.
But it was a marketing. Now that farmer is hooked into it. I am not complaining. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Yes.
It's actually a good thing, because
Yes.
it's access to inputs.
But should that be something that is regulated before you bring in fertilizer, before you sell fertilizer, for example?
Yeah.
Very simple. If you go to a chemist, you have to have a prescription.
Yes.
Should that be a scenario where I'm going to buy fertilizer? At least the agronomists, the agrovet guys, or whoever is selling fertilizer to me, at least has reference of my soil testing.
I agree. But soil testing should only be done annually.
It doesn't matter.
It should only
Because
be,
at least I should have my records.
Yeah, it should be done annually, because now I think also because there are a number of private companies that are coming to that space, so they are pushing for it almost every season. Some are pushing every month. But when you do within a year, then your soil should have changed because of the inputs you put in, the depleted etc., for you to do the next one. So yes, you might do that, but it should only be valid for within 12 months.
So shouldn't it be a scenario where the government says, according to the data that we are seeing, the production of maize in this region has dropped.
Yeah.
It has dropped because of poor soils.
Yeah.
It is mandatory before you plant maize, before you buy fertilizer, you have to have tested your soil to have a soil correction mechanism or something like that.
Yes, so that's all right. So the government is to ensure that those companies exist and they're within farmers' location. So that means attracting those companies into those spaces. That's number one. Number two, ensuring that those fertilizers that are going to do the soil what is it called? The
testing,
modification,
yes,
whatever
soil
it is
correction,
into correction,
yeah,
are also within the farmer's area. Because you can't tell me my soil is too acidic, I should not use DAP. Then what should I use? If that company probably has not been given licenses to come and operate in
isn't
that space.
that now where extension officers come in and say, instead of using DAP because your soils are acidic, we'll do this, for example?
Yes, they will. Yeah, that's where the extension comes in.
Yes.
But you see, when you do a soil test,
Yeah.
I can send you a text and tell you your soil is acidic. The pH is say 4 or 3. So to improve it, this is what we're going to use.
Yes.
You don't need someone to come and tell you that qua ground.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. But I'm saying what I'm talking about is the policy. You see, for example, now if there's a polio outbreak, polio is done.
Yeah.
Government does it free of charge.
Correct. At the policy level,
Yes.
the government should just ensure that if it's lime that is needed,
Yes.
or ash or whatever it
Yes,
is,
yes.
is more or less available within 50-kilometer radius.
Isn't that now that what?
So how they do is by licensing companies that are actually selling those solutions to the farmers, or accelerating the KEBS process for those companies so that they avail these products to the farmers. And then also try and regulate the costs.
So that means that policy has to really, we need to revisit the policy.
Yes, the policy is there. It's just sometimes the implementation of some of these things.
So who implements this? Because that's important. Like, because when you're talking to CECs, I've talked to a few, quite a number of CECs in different counties, and you realize that the challenge that these guys are having, farmers are having on the ground, is simple. First, the budget allocation to agriculture in the county governments. I don't think there's a county government that is beyond 5%.
Yeah.
Why?
So my question is, what would be the budget allocation for?
It depends. Now that's what I'm coming to.
Yeah.
Now, how should this look like? I was talking to one of the presidential aspirants, and I asked him a question. I asked him, how many farmers do you have on speed dial?
Yeah. So this is what I would say. I mean, and normally these people are at different levels. Government's job is to ensure there's a clear road that gets from your farm to the market for that produce, or the collection center.
That is national government or county government?
Both.
Both, okay.
Both have those roles. Number two, ensure that they have a clear regulatory framework for the kind of products that are being sold, even to the closest agrovet to the farmer, the smallest, through CAPES.
Is that happening?
Through CAPES. Yeah, they do, but it's not as frequent as you may want to see it. And then number three, I'm just talking from
what should be
top line perspective,
the ideal
situation.
Yes.
So the government should also ensure that if there's any private company that wants to come in and bring in solutions that are going to help farmers, and their products are verified by CAPES, then the cess, levy, etc. are not too inhibitive to make the business not work. So the government is to ensure that the private sector that is investing in this actually has the support they require to be able to provide the solutions to the farmers.
So the science behind it is not government.
The science behind it, in my opinion, should not be entirely on government. Government should focus on research and find ways of bringing that information to organizations such as ours and yourself for you to disseminate the same information to
What
farmers.
about people like Kefis? Do they come in and in terms of seed? Because some of the challenges and
Kefis, I agree. Kefis are normally looking at the phytosanitary and all that, and viability of seeds and genuine or not. They are, in my opinion, they're currently doing a good job, because there's a text you send if it doesn't come back, etc. They're monitoring that.
But that one is mostly on seeds.
Yeah, because that's part of their roles. Yeah, that's part of their roles.
Okay.
If you want to export, they will come, they will do an assessment of your farm, they'll do those phytosanitary checks, etc., and tell you correct this, then you'll have your licenses and certificates. So in my opinion, government so far is doing what they need to do to create the enabling environment for trade to happen, for agribusiness to happen,
for a farmer to operate.
All right. Remember, when the farmer sells the produce and they have 100 or 200,000 shillings, then they have been enabled by several factors.
Okay.
So actually, at some point, in my opinion, we should be participating in the tax conversation.
Very interesting. So, and then that's now the question I wanted to ask you about registering the business. How many farmers do you know have registered the businesses?
The ones that we work with, we have. I told them it's very important, because we need to. I don't want to be dealing with Noah. I want to be dealing with Noah's enterprises. If it's a farm.
Very interesting. Farm, So to answer the Hussein's the question, Nicholas Kibet, Professor Kibet, he says that times have changed. Agriculture is a devolved function, a huge mistake. Again, I also agree that your extension agent is now closer home, with every ward having one ward agriculture officer. Find one for the area near you. I have seen some areas. I still work with an extension officer, both in Athi River, in the farm, as well as Kajiado, the other side. The other side, somebody else saying that Thomas Okello, I think Thomas Okello, the guy for conservation agriculture. So he says Ministry of Agriculture. No, it is county government, CEC. Poor public participation is poor. I have attended some. Farmers demand non-agricultural things, and when priority is drawn, agriculture is at the bottom. Interesting. Doris Kendi says that no county government, she has not seen any county government extension officer. Comes back to your point. None of them has ever visited their farms. Nicholas Kibet says that public extension is not billed, so public extension services is not billed. Private services, you agree with the service provider, which is very interesting. And she's continues saying that Doris Kendi says that the independent agronomists I have encountered are quite bookish and more interesting in selling farm inputs from their employers than giving you support. I would gladly pay a serious agronomist who does farm visits and displays passion. I think now we need to contact her. We'll be sharing the details. So Doris, as you mentioned, another Hey, this one has burnt.
What are they saying?
So it says that Juakali and practical knowledge has worked better for me. I can read books, watch videos, etc. So please don't charge me for that, mkijifanya wajuaji hapo. Tech savvy kitu gani? Farming needs a practical approach. That, I think, to some extent is true, and that's why I was saying that extension services should be like what you're offering, like personal services. I come and do an assessment. You don't send me information and I fill the gaps. I come and understand how is this journey. If I'm going to grow watermelon, or if I'm going to grow a certain crop, and from the farm, like the Mala farm, from the farm to the main to the main road is 18 kilometers, and when it rains, what are the
nightmare. I was stuck there for some time, I remember. So I agree with her, but you see, over time, we are headed in the direction where the actual farm visits may reduce. I mean, technology is changing how we do things. Right now, we're looking at big data, we're looking at satellite info. We are looking at, with a phone, you're able to take a photo, it tells you the nutrients that are lacking in that crop. So currently as is, our farmers, and in Africa largely, by and large, farmers is still a student-teacher relationship, where I need to come and tell you that this is thrips, and this is how a thrip looks like, and this is the solution to thrips, and this is how to avoid next infestation. And then I go. And then I come back and see whether you've actually done the right thing.
Do you think that's the right model?
In my opinion, that's the right model.
Why not? What about training the people on the farm?
No, see, that's actually the training, because you're with them at their farm.
So is this the first season or the second season? Do you do that for the first season, hand-holding all the way?
We do for any season someone has subscribed to us.
Okay.
Yeah. But now what we do is sometimes, you see, farmers also, we are social people, so they want to see you come to the farm. Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
If you're not there, they raise alarm. They write on your Facebook page, you did not come.
You don't show up. You see, in a shared revenue, it's just like insurance. So in insurance, you pay for in case an accident happens, all right? But you still pay the whole amount of money. It's the same way with our farm, with our agronomy. So we will come and break down. We'll probably do a budget for you. We'll break down the work plan, etc. You have your farm work. So when we come visit, we'll be looking at where we are. So we'll come on key activities. The day we are doing land preparation, laying the beds to make sure things are done correctly. We will come during transplanting. But when the crop starts growing, if I came last week and there was zero sign of a pest, and we've put in scouting tools like the cards, the sticky cards, and we checked the traps and there was nothing. I cannot spend time coming to the farm this week when I know there's nothing, and there's a farm that requires my presence now. So what we do is we will skip this week and then come the next week.
So basically what you're saying is that farmers need to know who they're consulting.
Correct.
Don't just consult.
And then also know what they're buying into.
Yeah.
What is the value proposition they're buying into?
But bottom line, we're still agreeing that the challenge that farmers have actually faced is that there is no clear framework to be able to vet and say Agronomy Plus is a go, so and so is a go. What do you think? Who do you think? You said the practitioners in the industry. What is the role of the organizations that are selling inputs to farmers? What is their role in the whole? Do you pluck some of them, some of their guys, and bring them as practitioners, or those are different? Because the question that Doris Kendia said is that some guys just come and sell inputs, and I mean, me and you have seen sometimes we just sell inputs.
So there are those people. Those are sales agronomists. So he is coming. Yes, he will identify the problem, but he will give you a chemical solution, which means he's identified you have thrips. I don't know why I'm using that example so much. So identify you have thrips, then he'll give you a dawa for thrips. And then he will tell you next week change to this. Because itakuwa imezoea ile molecule ya kwanza. But you see,
which they have targets of, you sell these ones, then next sell this one.
So motivation is very different. Motivation is to push sales.
So the KPI is
so they actually know the solution, and they tell you they offer free extension service, but it's not free because you're paying for it with the inputs you're buying. So my best bet would be, I normally don't demonize them because they have clear mandates. We have different mandates that only converge at the farmer's problem.
But looking at the most of the people in Soka are actually part of them. So how do we independently work with these people?
You may want to look for people who are not selling inputs.
Okay.
Yeah, as their job. You see, these are not, it's not that they are not trained in horticulture or agronomy or whatever. They are experts in that. It's only that now where they are hired, they are hired to push products.
So for you, you are not biased like this Syngenta is the best.
No,
Sorry,
we don't sell.
respect.
No, we will only use what we, we'll advise on what we've used before.
Okay.
And we normally do a lot of trials.
Okay.
By the way, you give us this seed, we'll go try it somewhere, try it here, try it here. If it works out, I will come and advise you. You have thrips, so we'll do the IPM.
You like thrips, I think.
Yeah, we'll do the IPM. No, I'm just being consistent. We will do the integrated pest management model.
Yeah.
But when it gets to chemical, we have used this and it has worked before. We have
So
used
now-
this and it has worked before.
Thank you very much for giving us a lot of insights into this. I know it is a discussion that cannot end today.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions for you. 200 seeds watermelon challenge. What do you think 200 seeds? Where is the disconnect? Because farmers plant close to 4,000 seeds,
Right.
and get 4 tons probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very normal to get somebody who's got less than 4 tons.
Yeah.
200 seeds, each plant giving you 2 fruits consistently, and 5 kilos, that gives you 2 tons. Is it possible? Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, actually, this is what I would look at. 200 plants is like very interesting.
And
let's use primary school.
Yes.
So you have a primary school that is a private primary school.
Yes.
So you have a class of 15.
Yes.
And then they're doing KCPE. Then you have a public school like Olympic, you have a class of 500. All right? So you're still doing the same KCPE.
Olympic, all respect.
Yeah, they're still doing the KCPE.
Yes.
So there are some students in Olympic who will always grasp.
Yes.
Because they are smart, they sit at the front, wanajituma. And then there are wale wenye hawajitumi wanasindikiza wengine. That happens in every space.
Okay.
So when you have 200, a teacher has more time to
take care,
to look at all the 15. When you have 15 students, a teacher has time to look at all the 15 students, identify who is weak, and spend more time on them, and so on and so forth. When you have 4,000 seedlings, you will only be able to, it's normal human thing.
Yes.
You will come and look at the 4,000 seedlings, look at the ones that are doing well.
Yes.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
So you invest more time there.
And you have hope like zitatoka tu.
Zitatoka. Hizi zingine zita catch up, you know. So in my opinion, the 200 should give you 3 fruits. And then the 3 fruits from 3 different vines.
Yes.
2 should give you 8 kgs, 8, and then 1 should give you 5.
What do you think farmers will go wrong?
Timing of the fertilizer and water. Full stop.
Simple.
Timing of fertilizer. You know, this crop has a finite lifestyle. It's not like an indeterminate tomato, which grows and grows. So unaweza kuwa ulianza vibaya, but you caught up later, fruits zikaanza kuimprove, all of a sudden you're very good fruits.
Yes.
This one ukipita stage ya kuweka fertilizer fulani, hiyo stage imepita.
Melon fly?
Okay, melon fly is it's manageable nowadays.
How do you manage melon fly?
The melon traps, you start with that first.
Interesting.
The earlier you capture those things, the better. And then now you start also using a bit more of the chemicals, not the stronger ones. You start with the mild ones.
Yes.
But again, timing. When are they likely to start coming up? This time. Then kwanza fagia na melon traps.
Okay.
So have as many melon traps as you can.
How many? What is it? 200 seeds. How many?
I know, 4.
1, 2, 4?
Yeah, 4, but keep on changing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't leave the pheromone hapo tu ndani one for the whole season. Probably 6 weeks later change another one. 6 weeks change.
So what you're saying is that as you run a farm, you run a business. So all aspects.
It's the factors of production.
It's you to go and check the consultant, to go to check the architect, to get to know everything.
Correct.
There's a question that I said 2, but now there are 3.
Yeah.
The second one is, do you think farming should be left for specific people?
Actually, the conversation now comes to Kenya's farming is becoming a little expensive. We should all move to our neighboring countries, produce there and sell here. That's literally the information we get. Yeah, it's cheaper to do it in TZ or UG.
Why?
Factors of production are cheaper.
When you say factors of production, what do you mean? Because some time back
land accessibility is cheaper.
Some time back I said that that farmers should be able to, inputs should be reduced, the cost of inputs should be reduced, but I was told no, you cannot factor that in mind. But when it came with the issue of petrol, everything else became the issue. So what do you mean that the taxation on the farm inputs is affecting our cost of production?
Not much. I mean, when you buy dawa, 1 liter you spray 3, 4, 5 times.
Yes.
But you see, when you buy petrol and you're pumping water from a river, every day you buy. So that's where the first impact is.
So if the price of petrol goes down,
Then the
everything
cost
is
of production
constant.
is also going down.
But now let me ask you,
Cost of labor is also very expensive in our market. Even
Mhm.
casual labor, it's crazy.
But the
Cost of leasing land
Mhm.
is also very expensive.
does that mean that for farmers to succeed, it's tough?
It's a tough balancing act.
You can be able to balance and succeed.
Yeah, people have done that. I'll
Okay.
give you a scenario. I don't know whether we have a few minutes.
Yes, we have a few more minutes.
There's a farm where we've been harvesting dania every week,
Mhm.
and we just plant one sachet, one 500 gram sachet. Is it 500 or 250
Mhm.
sachet? And we've been earning about, and it's a very small plot. You know those very tiny plots?
Yes, yes.
We've been harvesting about, I think 12,000 every week.
12,000 shillings.
Yeah, so it's paying for our casual costs.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
because the major product is tomatoes, so it's paying for our regular costs.
So basically, the way you're saying that farmers have to think about it as a business perspective,
Yes.
as a business, not at niko na shamba.
And the dania is costing us, I think, about 5,000 total to produce for the sachet.
And you're getting like 12,000.
12,000, yeah.
Okay. But now, that means this discussion cannot end.
No, it never ends.
But now I want you to give me your thoughts.
Yeah,
Avocado craze.
yeah.
To get in or not?
No, get in.
Why?
Oh, get in. Avocado is a product that is a bit versatile, in my opinion. It can be consumed fresh, then as oil. And it's now also being used a bit in manufacturing. So there is definitely 3 levels of demand as is. All right, that's number one. Number two, we are positioned in a very good climatic agroecological condition space in Africa.
Yes.
And especially Kenya. So when Chile and Mexico they are on their low season,
Yes.
we are on a high season. So there's demand for it.
Okay.
Processing for oil, avocado oil is also taking up. There are even companies here in EPZ
Yes.
who are doing the same. So in my opinion, it's a space you could get into and still be able to make money now or even 10 years. You'll actually regret if 10 years you don't grow.
If you didn't have.
Yeah, that's number one. Number two, look at what big companies are doing. Remember, they've invested in research. They have the capacity.
Yes.
Look at what Kakuzi is doing. They planted, I think, about 10,000 acres
Yes.
about a year ago. Look at Gisheha Farm.
Yes.
They've done crazy, I think 200 acres.
200
I don't
acres,
know. It's
yeah.
crazy along Nakuru. That should tell you something about it. So
So-
avocado is not a craze. I mean, if you're looking at Kenyan market, of course, it's going to be a glut. But if you open up your scope kidogo,
Value addition and the rest.
value addition and actually exporting, there's demand. East is coming very fast to Africa to try and get the same avocado from us. Actually, avocado is such an important product. I started something on Facebook called Documentaries on Sunday.
Okay.
There's a documentary called Rotten.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about various different crops or food products that are in the market and how the business world has taken over.
Okay.
So there's fraud, corruption, etc. Avocado is one of them.
Ah,
Actually, the cartels are coming into avocado to try and control it the way they control cocaine.
really? Interesting.
So, in my opinion, get into it.
What is the minimum a farmer should be able to get in?
5 acres would make sense.
5 acres.
Yeah.
No, nothing less than that.
The others
Cost-wise.
might be a little, economics of scale
You can get any
don't
hobby.
make sense. Yeah. Alternatively, you
Yes.
can decide if you have less acreage,
Yes.
be at a different level of the value chain. So you can decide to be a seedling propagator. Your job is to graft, have a shed net, graft, harden, and
sell.
onward selling.
Very
Yeah.
Mike, thank you very much. Thank
I
you very much
appreciate
for
it.
taking time, coming to talk to us and
Asante sana.
farmers per se. We want to give you that camera for you to look at that camera. I just
And market my MC.
yes, we can let's see let's see your MC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just talk to farmers, especially young farmers.
Yeah.
Give them a message, and then we'll wind up.
All right. So, my message is very clear. Agriculture as a value chain for especially young farmers or young people in agribusiness has a lot of spaces you can plug in. I mean, there's the information space, there's the aggregation space, there's the tech space. There's actually a conversation we normally hold called "What's next Agritech?" You should look forward to the next one. It's going to blow your mind.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah, and then there's there's aggregation. There's even aggregation of land preparation. There's aggregation of spraying services. There are too many opportunities that you can plug into. It's going to be a lot of hard work. Production also it's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's fulfilling. But what you need to do is look at it as a business. By business, not just as a buzzword, but sit down and structure the business model. There is something called business model canvas. If you have some time, Google that.
Yeah.
It will help you structure even your farm, even the smallest of business ideas. It will help you structure it into a business and be able to now look for resources to meet the needs that you need and create value for farmers and create value for yourself as well. But of course, if you want the best agronomy, extension service, farm management, we are the best farm managers in the world. Actually, people are looking at our model to see how best they can improve their model. So thank you so much, Noah. Yes. So you can actually follow us on Agronomy Plus.
Yes.
Our page is called Agronomy Plus on Facebook. On Twitter, we are at Agronomy Plus 254.
Yes.
And then on Instagram, we are at Agronomy Plus. You can also check on our website, agronomyplus.co.ke. You can reach to us through the various channels. I mean, if you want to look out for me, then look for me on Michael Ondiala Odhiambo on Facebook. You'll see me there, very vocal on various aspects. I make jokes and I also write a few things that are not so funny.
Yeah. Which number? Telephone number? Some farmers are asking which telephone number to contact you on.
0787 525292.
Okay, 0787 525292.
The best approach is so that they all don't.
WhatsApp.
Yeah, they could send us a WhatsApp message. Someone will. Yeah, we actually voted. I think first runners-up, best agribusiness advisors, agribusiness excellence awards. Yes,
fantastic! Congratulations.
You will see it on our WhatsApp. We have pasted it there for you to see.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for those who have been watching. This has been a Farmers Mid-Morning Show coming from County 034, right here from our farmers, where we want to make sure that you as a farmer is getting the right information. We are not the voice of farmers, but we help you get the voice and be able to connect you with experts like Mike to be able to see how you can be able to not only grow crops but also do it and convert your farm into a business. This has been a show sponsored by Organics Limited, the makers of Okoa Maji and Absorber, where you are able to they're developing regenerative solutions and sustainable solutions to help you as a farmer grow crops in a more affordable way. And we have some goodies that we'll be giving out. We'll check out their page, Organics Limited Kenya, so that you can be able to see what are the products that they are using. Thank you for having stayed tuned. For all those who have sent out your shout outs, thank you very much. For those who've commented and those who've been our over 117,000 loyal followers, we want to thank you for continuing to support us in every little way. This is a Farmers, where we help you connect, learn and grow.
This is the Mid-Morning Show with Noah Nasiali Kadima.